Hi, welcome to the morning show. I'm DJ Larry D.
And I'm DJ CP.
And you're listening to Radio Laurier. We're here with Nick Gibson, and he's a presidential candidate for the WLUSU election.
Woo.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Great. All right, we're going to ask him a couple questions today.
Jump right in.
Why not, right?
Here we go, rapid
fire. Mr. Gibson.
Yes.
What encouraged you to run for president?
Very good question. I think just after, 3 and a bit years, but 3.5 years, I'm in 4th year right now, you kind of get a good idea of, what sort of things at school that you see lacking, what sort of good things that are happening at the school. Mm-hmm. As for me personally, I have a huge passion for, politics and, that sort of traditional politics sort of thing. And within the school, at least, the presidential role is one of those places where I think you can make a lot of good changes. For me, I think the presidential role over the board of directors, for example, is something I think I'm a little bit more accustomed to, something that I'm a little bit more comfortable doing. It's just given some of my experiences with an activity, being a 3-time icebreaker, doing some other some other volunteer experience, and also doing some lobby work with the union, being a president of the campus club, all that sort of stuff. I think it just suits me a bit better for the presidential role rather than the board of directors.
Because you're really involved, right?
Yeah, I like to be. I like to be very busy.
Very involved in the school.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. All right. As president, you'll be a busy guy. How do you plan on being accessible to students?
Yeah, I know that's a very, very important thing. Actually, one of my pillars of my campaign, one of my platform, is this notion of an open presidency. And for me, it's one of those things where you have you say it's a 35-hour week. Really, it's not 35-hour week. It's really much more than that. So I've just simply said a few things. First one is just a weekly physical presence in high traffic areas on campus, right? Whether or not I'm doing work, whether or not I'm doing homework, if I take a course or two during my term, just being there so people can actually see a physical presence. No, it sounds a lot like symbolism, but really, if people feel empowered to talk to the president, feel comfortable coming to the president in their areas of comfort, it's going to be a lot easier for them to talk about their concerns, their input, and their ideas. There's also a few other things I talk about, if I'm not around, talking about things like, just having little boxes to say Ask WLUSU in high traffic areas on campus as well. Those simple things like that. Updating our WLUSU website a little bit too, the My Laurier account as well. There is actually, a lot of people don't realize this, there is actually a Ask WLUSU button on the WLUSU website.
Really?
Yes, there is.
Really?
There
I
is.
didn't know that.
Yeah, it is probably the worst looking little icon I've ever seen in my life. And the Brantford side of the WLUSU website is even worse. So basically I wanted to clean that up a little bit and make it a little bit more actually attractive and a little bit more prominent on the website. And obviously, like I said, similar things will be happening on the Brantford campus as well.
Okay, good.
Cool.
Attracting both campuses. I like it. All right. What do you think will be your biggest challenge in this position?
Well, I mean, right now we're in the process of negotiating an operating agreement with the school. That will likely be done before I'm in office. However, if it isn't, that will certainly be the most important thing, most challenging thing to finish. Really, it's just refocusing the union in a way. The biggest focus for a student union should be standing up for the students, except we have been getting a bit too far away from that and talking about our businesses, talking about our services, which is great. And really, we're the envy of a lot of student unions in that sense. But in terms of internal advocacy, standing up to the school, when we're going in for academic quality, for financial burden, that sort of stuff, we've been lacking. We've been lacking a lot. And trying to get the student union to say, like, look, guys, we're doing great on this side. Yes, we're having some improvements, and I think I addressed some of those things in my platform. But the biggest thing we need to do is start actually standing up for students and not worrying so much that the relationship with the university is going to be turned sour. Really, the relationship with the university is just a means to an end. It's not an end in and of itself, right? We need to realize that. I'm not saying I just want to be this antagonistic guy. I think most of the time you get good things out of a good relationship. However, if you're not getting anything, people walking all over you, is it really a good relationship? I don't think so.
No.
So.
Very true.
Very, very true.
Who do you think is your toughest competitor and why?
Okay, well, you know what? I mean, this is obviously a very political answer, but frankly, all the candidates have their strengths. You know, Dan has been a 2-time Don. I mean, he's done some other great involvement on campus. You know, he's well known and very well liked. I mean, great guy. I don't really particularly know him that well, but he is a great person, and he'll certainly be a big tough competition. Matt Park has been former chair of the board a few years ago, and he's also been in Don for a few years, so certainly he'll be a tough competition too with his sort of institutional memory. And then Aaron Lawrence is another great guy. Certainly has good name recognition out there too. So all three of them will be really good competition. Given, like, to be frank, I mean, we don't really have polling
true.
doing here, so we can never really be sure. You know, we have our own sort of thoughts about various things, but to be frank, I mean, it's all about pulling out the vote, and any candidate can win on any given day, so you always got to be careful.
This is day 4 of campaigning, or 5 now?
It is day 5.
5.
Yeah, I mean, weekends tend to be relatively quiet, other than online, but yeah. So.
Whole weekends, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Now, next question.
Okay.
Laurier has an internet problem.
Yeah.
How do you plan on fixing it?
Yeah.
Or making it better?
Yeah. You know what? It's one of those tough things, right? Because we have a really sort of weird campus. Like, the structure, some of the older buildings and stuff like that, it really makes it really tough to have really reliable internet in a lot of spots. I mean, the music building and science building, for example, are particularly bad for internet. I mean, there's other bad spots on campus, but in terms of, you know, very specific locations. Basically, what I'm proposing is, again, getting the union in there to say, let's make sure we're keeping the university accountable for this stuff. I mean, they do have a huge budget crunch, but this is a very, very important thing given that we are moving so much in the direction of online learning. But the other thing I'm proposing is looking at having hardwire ports on campus, so Ethernet ports on some spots on campus. I think that would just, for the short term at least, give some students a little bit more flexibility. Maybe ease the network a little bit too, and that's what I'm looking into at this point to help with that.
Perfect. That's awesome.
All right. Okay, we want to know who inspires you.
Who inspires me?
So many people.
Oh yeah,
many of
them. I wish you guys had told us before. I know.
Speech.
Yeah, good.
Hot
spot, exactly. You know what, and this may sound a little bit corny, but I would have to say my mom, and the reason for that is, you know, to be honest, I've had quite an interesting last few months. My mom was, about May, was diagnosed with lymphoma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So